Greek mythology can be broken up into 3 generations: primordial deities, the Titans, and then the Olympians. In the beginning there is only an empty void, then came chaos. From chaos came Gaia, who symbolized the earth and considered the mother of all. Tartarus also came from chaos. His domain was under the earth, similar to Hades. Tartarus is where the worst beings were kept and banished, even some gods as well. From chaos also came Erebus, the darkness that covered the earth at night. Erebus in the night, Nyx, gave birth to the ether, the heavenly light. From Nyx also came fate, doom, sleep, and death. Gaia would give birth to Uranus the mountains and the primordial deity of the sea, Pontus. Uranus would eventually become Gaia's mate, giving birth to the 12 Titans, 3 Cyclops, and 3 Hecatoncres. Uranus despised the children, especially the Hecatoncres, because of how ugly it was, so he shoved the Hecatoncres back into Gaia's womb. Gaia was very upset by this and fashioned a sickle for one of her children to use. Out of the 12 Titans, Kronos, who was the last born, used the sickle and avenged his mother. Kronos used the sickle to castrate Uranus. From the blood that Uranus spilled came a race of giants, nymphs, and furies. Kronos threw the genitals into the ocean. From the sea foam came Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and born and made her way to the shore. Uranus left the earth, but promised the other Titans that they would be punished. Kronos banished the Cyclops and Hecatoncres to Tartarus to ensure his rule. Tartarus took power and his sister Rhea as his mate. With each child that was born, Kronos devoured his children out of fear that he would be overthrown, which was prophesied. Gaia hid Zeus away from the nymphs until he was old and strong enough to defeat his father. Zeus gave Kronos a potion to throw up his siblings when he came to take over. Zeus and his siblings defeated Kronos and sent him to Tartarus. A 10-year war began with the other Titans because they wouldn't let up the rule. Both sides couldn't have led in the war. Zeus unleashed the Cyclops and Hecatoncres. He was awarded thunder and lightning power from the Cyclops. The Olympians won the war, sending the Titans to Tartarus. Atlas was condemned to hold up the earth and the heavens on his shoulders. Uranus and Gaia had one more offspring, Titan, hoping to defeat the Olympians, but eventually was defeated by Zeus. Giants tried to overthrow the Olympians after the war. They didn't like how they were treated, but were not successful in their attempt and were defeated as well. The Olympians remained rulers when their foes were out of the picture. There is a recurring theme that the son would defeat the father and take power. The story of Persephone, the goddess of spring, and Hades, the god of the underworld, is an interesting one. Hades fell in love with Persephone the first time he saw her picking flowers. From there, he carried her off in his chariot to live with him in the underworld. After the abduction, Demeter, Persephone's mother, went searching for her and couldn't find her. Through Helios, he told Demeter that Persephone was in the underworld. She kept looking. Demeter ventured to Eleusis on her search and came across Demphion and cared for him. However, she wanted to make him immortal by putting him into the fire every night. His birth mother found out and was alarmed, which forced Demeter to show her true self and demanded that a temple be built in her honor. After the temple was built, Demeter went into a type of hibernation, hoping to force Zeus to get Hades to bring back his daughter. Hades fed Persephone a pomegranate, and when you eat the food from the underworld, you aren't allowed to leave. Hades said that she could go back to her mother, but must come back for the third of the year. This myth's importance is because it symbolized the changing of the seasons. When Persephone was with her mother, things prospered and was alive. When she was with Hades in the underworld, Demeter went into a type of hibernation and things died. The 12 labors of Hercules are one of the most famous myths. His first labor was in Nemea, which was the slaying of the Nemean lion who was terrorizing the countryside. His second labor was the kill of the Lernaean Hydra. His third labor was the capture of the Cernian hind, which angered the goddess Artemis because she loved the creature. His fourth labor was the capture of the Erymithian boar. His fifth labor was the cleaning of the Argian stables, which he did so in one day, by bending 2 rivers so they flowed into the stables and cleaned the 30 years of filth.
His sixth labor was the kill of the Stymphalian birds. His seventh labor was the capture of the Cretan bull. His eighth labor was the capture of the horses of Diomedes. His ninth labor was to take the girdle of Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons. His 10th labor was the capture of the cattle of Geryon. His 11th labor was to take the golden apples of the Hesperides. His 12th labor and last labor was the capture of Cerberus. Greek mythology is polytheistic, which means the Grecians believe in many gods. Each god has a specific role, and there are different tiers of gods as well. The main 13 are Hera, Zeus, Demeter, Poseidon, Hades, Hestia, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Hermes, and Dionysus. They are all tier 1. Then their children are tier 2, and so on and so forth. The Olympians were the only gods in physical form. Because of this, gods liked to have affairs with humans, and those children would be heroes and demigods. Zeus would have affairs, which made his wife Hera angry, and so she would rain her wrath on that individual, which could also cause hardships for many people. Affairs by the gods was one of the main reasons humans were punished. That and going wrong against the gods. The Grecians would pray to certain gods or goddesses if they were in need of something. They would pray to Demeter to help their crops and vegetables grow. They would pray to Plutus, the god of wealth, if they wanted to be wealthy. Praying to Hera would be to ask for anything to do with a marriage or child-related topics. Purification rituals are common by sacrificing animals or using a scapegoat, which you let into the wilderness and put your sins upon the goat. There are also sacrifices towards gods and goddesses for certain reasons. Piglets were sacrificed to Persephone for fertility. Gods can take different forms, and depending on what they are the god of, they are associated with that thing. But there are many symbols for Greek mythology. The cornucopia is the symbol of prosperity, harvest, abundance, and nourishment. The Asclepius wand or rod is one of the ancient Greek symbols representing astrology and healing the sick with medicine. But there is no written down book. It's only the word of mouth telling stories and myths. Greek mythology has influenced many artists, authors, and directors. Disney made a movie based on Hercules. DC Comics made a comic and a movie based on the Amazon tribe Wonder Woman. Books like Percy Jackson and the Song of Achilles have been created based off of famous heroes. Songs have also been made about heroes and gods. Achilles Come Down is one of them.